I present here to the public some thoughts under the title, Why I Am a Christian. This essay can be found in slightly modified form in the book Essays on the Christian Worldview and Others, Political, Literary, and Philosophical, published by Hamilton Books. I here present my thoughts on Why I Am a Christian, taken from the book Essays on the Christian Worldview, somewhat changed and modified. In this age of genetic engineering, extended lifespans, riches for some small group of people, and entertainment and possible material enrichment for all, one must ask the question, why be a Christian? Better put, the question is what we are to make of the claims of Jesus of Nazareth to be God and his claims to show the way to eternal life, conquer death and offer us, through him, regeneration and a new life, bringing us to a fuller and richer human life. The question, at its outset, is somewhat absurd, if not comical, in its asking. The question, better put, is what he will make of us, this colossus of history for whom we name our centuries. Nevertheless, the question is quite pressing. Jesus of Nazareth said things, did things, and made claims that no one else has ever made. He claims to work miracles, feeding 5,000 with 1 fish and 1 loaf of bread. He claims to change water into wine, cast out whatever demon in our life that may beset us, and he claims to make whole the lame and disabled. The world tells us to get rich and richer. He tells us to get poor. The secular society tells us to be smart, sophisticated, and in the know. He tells us to be like little children. The world tells us that getting and taking and acquiring is the answer. He tells us that the poor are blessed. The world values dominance, power, and wealth, and gives honor and glory to those who obtain its respect. He says the poor in spirit are blessed, and the meek will inherit the earth. Media propaganda tells us that everything is getting better and better for everyone. He tells us the world is corrupt and doomed to extinction, to be replaced by a new order. In a past century of genocides, Armenian, Nazi, Cambodian, Rwandan, and most recently, Darfur and Bosnia, he commands us to love our neighbor as ourselves, telling us that next to the face of God, they are the holiest objects in our affections, destined to be eternal beings. Jesus of Nazareth consorts and socializes with the outcasts and undesirables, dies the death of an executed criminal, and tells a criminal beside him on the same day that he will be with him in paradise. He says of those that will follow him that they will never die. No one, before or after, has said the things that he has said, done the things that he has done, and made the fantastic claims that he has made. In this age of greed and self-love, he offers a radical alternative to the present secular vision we are told and urged to embrace and believe. I am a Christian, since I see no other alternative to the hatred, conflicts, war, and suffering of the present world order based on power, money, and intellectual and material pride. He tells us rather to serve, using our minds, gifts, and talents as a gift of God in the service of others. He makes an exclusive claim. He tells us that class, wealth, race, and sex make no difference. In a world ruled by the desire for dominance and ego, we need a reawakening in the faith of God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the majestic theophany of Mount Sinai, the God of the prophets, the God who spoke to Elijah in the still small voice, the God who spoke to Job out of the whirlwind, and the God of agony at Gethsemane. For each one of us, he still stands by the waters of the Sea of Galilee, bidding rich and poor alike, men and women, peasant and ruler to follow him, and to those who answer and heed his call through the trials, tribulations, suffering, and bittersweet sorrows and joys of this present life. He promises that they will come to know him and who he is, knowing and being known as each of us truly are, not in our pride and self-interest or arrogance, nor in the flattery of the sycophantic comments of our neighbors and friends. Finally, as he confronts us at the gates of death, he promises we will reach our full regenerated humanity and through the faith once and for all delivered to the saints, not the weakened faith of this world in relevance, political correctness, and media jargon, but the faith of St. Paul, St. Augustine, St. Thomas Aquinas, Luther, Calvin, Bonhoeffer, and John Paul II. the faith for which St. Paul was beheaded by Nero, and St. Peter was crucified upside down before the gates of Rome, and the faith through which and in which we will share eternal knowledge, love, and communion with the source of life, being, and love itself. Let me add this thought. Today I read in the New York Times of December 11th, 2015, a comment about the appeal of Donald Trump. The statement made was that he mainly appealed to non-college educated individuals. I take no position regarding Mr. Trump or his political position, but I do say this, and beg to differ with this statement in the New York Times. I say to the New York Times, Jesus of Nazareth was a carpenter. Several of his disciples were fishermen, and St. Paul was a tent maker. The statement of the Times appears to be or implies that people who are not college educated or lack education are lacking intellectually and thus account for the appeal of Mr. Trump. For me, this is an incorrect statement, since intellectual ability is widely distributed to all races, groups, both the educated and less educated. I find this statement of the New York Times somewhat disturbing in the light of the fact that Jesus Christ was a carpenter, died executed as a criminal beside two criminals, and was roundly accused in his time of consorting with the wrong people. As I say, I hold no particular position for Mr. Trump, but I do call into question what appears to be the implications that the less educated are therefore lacking and so stupid. Andrew J. Shatkin is the proprietor of a law firm, both national and international, and also has a Master's of Divinity degree from Princeton Theological Seminary in Biblical and Classical Languages, Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. Andrew J. Shatkin has written 2 books, one entitled Select Legal Topics and the other Essays on the Christian Worldview. Andrew J. Shatkin recently published a 2nd volume of Select Legal Topics, and a 2nd book of general religious philosophical essays is forthcoming, as well as a book on the parables. Andrew J. Shatkin is an active member of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod and has applied for the Colloquy program to become a Lutheran pastor. Andrew J. Shatkin can be reached by email at a.shatkin48@gmail.com or by telephone at 516-932-8120. Andrew J. Shatkin books can be found both on bn.com, amazon.com, and can be ordered directly from the publisher at 1-800-462-6420 in Maryland.